this meeting into session at 3:01 p.m. Commissioners, great to see you all. Mr. County Administrator, Madam Attorney, great to see you all. We have a lengthy agenda today with several items pulled from consent. And so before we start with our traditional agenda, I would like to request a motion. What I intend to do is there are 6 items pulled from consent, Commissioners. What I would like to do is request a motion to move those items to the end of general business. So we'll pick up those 6 items right after item number 20. Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion moved by Mr. Immediate Past Chair, second by Commissioner Maddox. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioners. We will now continue on with our agenda, and I will acknowledge our Mr. Vice Chairman O'Keefe for the invocation.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Rabbi Paul Sidlovsky of Temple Israel to do our invocation.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe, for your kind invitation, and everyone for the honor of delivering the invocation at this meeting. As we join together today, may we, the leaders of our county, celebrate our diversity, seeing it as a path toward learning and growth for all. May we also conduct our business this afternoon with an appreciation of what unites us through the shared spirit of love, caring, and humanity. We ask for guidance in working together for the betterment of our citizens, including those most in need of our help. May we be blessed with courage and compassion, wisdom and humility. In these troubled and challenging times, let us be steadfast in our desire to continue building a community where all are able proudly and successfully to live and thrive according to the rich fabric we sew together. Through this blessing, may we and everyone we serve know wholeness and peace. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Next on the agenda, we have a proclamation recognizing March 2026 as Women's History Month.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I have asked Commissioner Proctor, I'm having some dental issues. I will go down with him, but he's going to read the
Okay,
proclamation.
great. Commissioner Proctor, you are recognized.
Yes, sir.
Those persons who are the recipients of this proclamation, if y'all. Good afternoon, how are you doing? Hello. Good. Mr. Chairman, I'm well honored that Commissioner Cummings has asked if I would stand in and read this proclamation, and to you all, I'm honored to do so. It reads, whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation and Leon County in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of the life of our nation, and our county is a significant portion of the labor force working outside and inside the home. And whereas women have served our nation courageously in every branch of the military, and whereas women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation and county, And whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have been leaders not only in securing their own rights to vote and equal rights, but also in the civil rights movement and the labor movement, which helped to create a more fair and just society for all. And whereas despite these contributions, the role of women in history has consistently been overlooked and undervalued in literature, teaching, and in the history of America. And whereas now more than ever, the Oasis Center for Women and Girls, the Tallahassee-Leon County Commission on the Status of Women and Girls, and many other organizations work locally to make the invisible history of women and girls more visible. And whereas this year, in honor of all the women who have worked to make our community great, we're giving special recognition to the contributions of our 2026 Trailblazer honorees: Martha Barnett, Vicki Bradley, Hannah Cronick, Joanne Gallagher, Macy Hartman, Paige Cubic, Dylan Lawson, Graciela Marquina, Gloria Pugh, and Olawanmu Dupe Olayide. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Leon County, Florida, hereby join in the celebration of March, being designated as Women's History Month in recognition of March 8th as International Women's Day, dated this 10th day of March, 2026, and this proclamation is signed by all 7 Leon County Commissioners, and it is attested to by our County Administrator, Mr. Vince Long. You, we say congratulations. To God be the glory.
Hi, my name is Kimmy Hogan. I'm the president of the board of directors for the Oasis Center, and I just want to say thank you so much. It means so much that you stand with women and girls. We appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
No, it's okay. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Jasmine Bryan, Chair of the Tallahassee-Leon County Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. And on the behalf of the CSWG, we thank you all for this recognition, for your continued support. This month is obviously an opportunity to recognize all the contributions that women have made to our community, our economy, and so much more. And so we thank you all for this recognition, and we look forward to the progress ahead and your continued support of the CSWG. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I had in mind to say that among the nature's creatures, mammals in particular, that every human being ever that's come to our planet has come by way of a woman. And for that, I'm very, very glad, and we should all be. Let's give these women a great big hand.
Commissioner Minor, you're recognized.
Come on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, everybody. Commissioner Cummings, thank you very much for bringing up the proclamation. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. Last Friday, I attended the Oasis Trailblazers Luncheon, and it was incredible. The energy in that room among the women leaders in this community was extraordinary. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I really wish I had brought my 2 daughters to be there and to meet and be inspired by these incredible women that are in our community. So I talked to my wife when I got home. We're gonna do that next year. And so for anyone out there who might be watching, if you have daughters at home, mark your calendars for March. You have the date for next year yet?
No, but it's usually that first week of March.
Okay, mark your calendars for March, because you have to take your daughters to the Oasis Trailblazers Luncheon next year. It was a missed opportunity for me, but I will not miss it again. Congratulations for everything you do. Thank you for everything you do for this community. We're grateful for you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner O'Keefe, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. Just congratulations and thank you. I wasn't going to say anything, but I was just thinking how great it is to know so many of you standing there personally. And I want to thank all of you, because part of the work you do is necessary because there is more of a burden placed on women in almost all areas of society. And so I appreciate you taking on the additional burden of addressing those in leadership in this community. So thank you, and I look forward to the day when you can report that we have made it equal.
Thank you all so much, and congratulations. Next, we have a proclamation recognizing the 10th anniversary of Conversations with Nicole. Commissioner Maddox, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Congratulations. Proclamation reads, whereas Conversations with Nicole host, Nicole Everett is a Miami native who matriculated to Tallahassee to attend the Florida A&M University, where she obtained her degree in business administration and business economics from FAMU. And whereas for approximately 3 decades, Nicole has primarily served in the affordable housing arena locally and statewide through steadfast commitment, leadership, and advocacy, working tirelessly to expand access to safe, stable, and affordable housing for individuals and families in our community. And whereas embarking on a new chapter, Conversations with Nicole broadcast its first show on March 2nd, 2016, with host Nicole Everett and Nefertiti, fine cuisine with restaurant owner Dr. Dana and Sharon Denard. And whereas Conversations with Nicole's mission is to curate cultural relevant experiences to foster community awareness and inspire people to control their personal narrative because their stories matter. And whereas CWN live streams twice weekly on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and airs weekly on 96.1 Jams radio station and Spotify, the show has produced 14 seasons and more than 700 videos and more than 100 radio shows since its inception. And whereas Conversations with Nicole has featured the following notable guests: Librarian of Congress Carla Hayden, rapper and actor Common, broadcaster Soledad O'Brien, rapper and recording producer Daryl DMC McDaniels, civil engineer Cheryl McKissick, comedian and actor Joe Torre, actress and singer Cheryl Lee Ralph, comedian and TV host Ricky Smiley, singer Anthony Hamilton, attorney Benjamin Crump, reflecting the continued dedication to uplifting voices, building connections, and serving the public in innovation and impactful ways. And whereas one of Nicole's mantras is that we all have gifts and talents that the world is waiting on, and we should not be waiting on these gifts. We should be sharing them. Nicole believes Conversations with Nicole is a platform for people to share their gifts, talents, and passions and purpose. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Leon County Commissioners in Leon County, Florida, we do hereby recognize the 10-year anniversary of Conversations with Nicole on this day. This is signed by the chair as well as the rest of the commission and attested to by the county administrator. Congratulations.
Wow. Thank y'all so much. It's so just special to be recognized in the place that you live, work, and play. And I've had several folks in this room on my show. I think our stories are so important. And I just want to continue sharing y'all's stories, y'all's gifts, y'all's talents with the world. So I'm so honored and appreciative, and I just thank you so much.
Amen.
Can we do a picture?
Yes, we'd love to. Commissioner Cummings, you're recognized.
Nicole, while you all getting together for the picture, I just want to thank Commissioner Maddox for recognizing you for your contributions to the community. If anybody's heard those conversations on the radio, they're just truly remarkable. So we thank you for all you do for the community, and may God bless you, and may you continue to have many, many more conversations on the media, on the air. So thank you, Nicole.
All right. Now, representatives from the North Florida Fair Association. Please come forward.
Commissioners, we're on the next item, the proclamation recognizing the North Florida Fair Association for their long-term success of hosting the annual North Florida Fair.
All right.
Did we get any candy apples or something?
I prefer elephant ears, sir. All right. The proclamation reads, whereas originally founded as the Leon County Fair Association, the first fair was held in November of 1939, establishing a long-standing tradition of celebrating agriculture, education, and community in Leon County and the surrounding region. And whereas in 1949, the North Florida Fair Association purchased 142 acres of land and permanently dedicated the property to the promotion of agriculture and the education of youth and the advancement of the community. Over the decades, this commitment has supported the development of major community assets, including and now known as Gene Cox Stadium, the UF IFAS Leon County Extension Agricultural Center, and Capitol Park. And whereas for more than 8 decades, the North Florida Fair has served as its region's largest annual event, providing a venue of agricultural exhibits, livestock shows, youth competitions, educational programs, cultural showcases, and family entertainment. The fair remains deeply rooted in its mission to preserve agricultural heritage while preparing future generations for success. And whereas since 1985, the North Florida Fair Association has awarded educational scholarships to area youth, and investing in students who demonstrated leadership, dedication, and excellence through participation in fair programs. And whereas the association provides more than $75,000 annually in direct support of community organizations, including 4-H and FFA programs, livestock shows, and youth development initiatives through competitions, exhibits, and skill-based events. Young participants gain invaluable experience in hard work, responsibility, communication, and organizational skills. And whereas events hosted at the North Florida Fair contribute more than $79 million annually to the local economy, supporting tourism, small businesses, agriculture, and workforce development throughout the region. And whereas for more than 85 years, the North Florida Fair Association has remained a steward of community tradition, economic vitality, and youth development. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners in Leon County, Florida, do we hereby recognize and commend the North Florida Fair Association continuing its mission to serve the citizens of Leon County and North Florida for generations to come. This is signed by the chair and the board and attested to by the county administrator. Madam Chair. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Proctor, and to the entire dais. We are very, very grateful for this recognition today. We are grateful to be intertwined into the very fabric of this community, and we look forward to serving it and being a part of it into perpetuity. Thank you all so much again.
Thank you for those proclamations, Commissioner Cummings, Commissioner Proctor, and Commissioner Maddox. Commissioners, we are now on consent, and before I entertain a motion to move consent, I do just want to point out the memo that I sent to the board yesterday afternoon, early evening. We have a lengthy agenda. Most importantly, I want to make sure that we cover all items of business. I want to make sure every commissioner has the opportunity to make their points, and if there is a debate necessary, we will allow for a robust debate and conversation. I do want to try, and we can have this meeting wrapped up by 11. Commissioner Proctor seems to think we'll be done by 8. I'll remember that around 7:45. So, all right, commissioners, do I have a motion for consent?
Mr. Chairman, I move consent with the exception of the items that have been pulled. In my understanding, those are items number 4, 5, 8, 10, 12, and 14.
4, 5, 8, 10, 12, and 14. You are correct. We have a motion moved by Commissioner Miners, second by, who seconded over here?
I made the motion and he seconded.
Okay.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Moved by Commissioner Welch, second by Commissioner Maddox. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes, sir. Yes, Commissioner.
The items that were pulled, which one were related to procurement, Mr. Administrator?
These are the ones that are pulled right here, Commissioner.
It's 8.
Yes. Number 8.
Mr. Chair, can I ask that we go ahead and take up 8? Because I think that might be just a simple procurement one. If the commissioner who pulled it, Commissioner, can we take up 8?
If we have a motion on the floor, so I think we have to, per policy, you want to make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'll second that. Commissioners, any discussion? Seeing none, it'll pass unanimously. We are on agenda item 8. Commissioner Maddox, you're recognized.
Commissioner Proctor, I'll yield to you.
Yeah, Commissioner Proctor, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Commissioners. As I looked at this item, page 2 of the item, it indicated that as we're looking for a structural engineering continuing service contract, that the respondents for this contract identified an 8% minority business enterprise and 6% for women business enterprise, and were awarded 10 points, 2 points respectively, and that they had agreed to utilize an apprentice and extern program on this particular project. My question simply is, what is the future status of this kind of language with respect to our contracting? And while I read this, I was aware that, I believe last week, staff informed us of a bill
Commissioner Proctor,
called
I don't mean to
1134.
interrupt you, but we got to have a motion on the floor.
I don't have a motion, I had informational ask.
You want to move staff recommendation?
Yeah, I want to move staff recommendation.
Okay, staff recommendation, option 1, moved by Commissioner Proctor, seconded by Commissioner Cummings. You're still recognized, Commissioner Proctor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, I simply wanted to know from our staff, what is the future status of this type of language, the second paragraph under the analysis? And with, I think the bill was 1134, I want to know, is this something that we're going to continue to see going forward in the future? Is this like a dinosaur? This type of language is becoming extinct. And with respect to us being told that we could not lift up anything that was MV-ish any longer, I'm confused. So that's why I pulled this. I need to know. Where are we?
Go ahead, Mr. County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Well, when we convened just a few minutes ago, the Senate version of the bill was on the House floor going through the amendment process. So when the dust settles, we'll do an analysis and we will follow the law in terms of what happens ultimately. But that amendment process has been pretty significant. It's been pretty substantial, so we'll have to wait. And it should be passed in its final form this afternoon, I would expect.
Right. Now, if we adopt this particular bill, would we, and something is captured by the legislature similar to what we were informed last week, would this contract be considered illegal?
As currently written about 3 hours ago, under Senate Bill 1134, if it's passed by both chambers and approved by the governor, the board would no longer be able to fund these sorts of contracts that have any sort of DEI initiative in them as of January 1 of 2027.
With respect to these occurrences, Mr. Chairman, I think it's very important that critically that our board understand that our staff gives us some analysis of how deep, how far-reaching this language would declare and potentially impact many contracts which are out on the street. And I could not read this and not reflect on future possibilities, as well as whether or not contracts would be terminated based on this. You all read, I hope, the paper today, and you saw that because the federal government has turned its back on DEI, that a $3 million contract was terminated by the federal government because it no longer recognizes DEI. And a number of entities in our community are impacted by this change of policy. And I think that it's just, we need to take an assessment of how far-ranging this will impact existing contracts and whether or not what the legislature is proposing will nullify existing contracts. That's my ask, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Mr. County Administrator, I assume if this bill is passed, it would be top priority from staff to bring us an agenda item laying out how that impacts Leon County?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
You all good, Commissioner Proctor?
I'm good.
Are you raising your hand? Oh, okay. All right, Commissioners, we have a motion moved by Commissioner Proctor, second by Commissioner Cummings. All those in favor signify the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Don't see any opposed. Passes unanimously. All right, Commissioners, no problem. We are on number 17, general business. So for those in the audience or watching at home, we are on general business. Item number 17. We will come to the remaining pulled consent items at the end of general business. Mr. County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, pursuant to the county's discretionary funding ordinance and the board's fiscal planning policy, this item presents one of the early considerations for the board's consideration in the budget development process with the establishment of maximum discretionary funding levels for outside agencies, including the CHSP agencies, dedicated homeless shelters, special events, commission office budgets. Options 1 through 5 recommend maintaining funding levels at the existing level for all of the line items. Despite the extreme caution that we've noted throughout the item, Commissioners, we are, due to the considerable uncertainty in the process, we believe this recommendation is still viable at this time, although things could certainly change very quickly. With that, Commissioners, again, we are recommending options 1 through 5. We're happy to answer any questions you might have, and I have no speakers on this item.
Second.
Commissioners, I have Mr. Vice Chairman in the queue.
Sorry.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you. I have a question on point of order.
I'm sorry. No, what was that?
Wait,
What's the Commissioners, one second.
forgive me if you already addressed it. Did we miss public comments on non-agenda or?
Oh, thank you for pulling that up. Oh, there was
none. Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. Are you looking to make a motion? Okay.
Let me clarify.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Madam Attorney. I'm going to recuse myself from item number 1 as my organization, Family Promise of Big Bend, receives funding in item number 1.
Option number 1?
Option number 1, yeah.
So
So I'm
move
going
staff.
to make the motion for the remaining options, option
2 through 5.
and I'll recuse from number 1.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any requests to comment from that? Any other comments?
sir. No,
Okay.
sir.
Any other discussion on that? Commissioner Proctor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, asked to make the motion to consider that on the option 4, the 1 through 5, that I guess a price point of about $24,500 that we increase establish commissioner office budgets at $27,000. And I ask you to modify that for a collective total of, I think, $24,500 relative to the price increases, which we are all experiencing. And what we were able to do for last year, it's tight out there. And I would just ask if we would modify that to correspond to the realities of the inaffordability crisis.
I have a comment relative to office budgets, but you want to
I was
respond?
asked to modify option 4 to add an additional to 27.
For the sake of us creating a maximum budget, which I know we can modify after, but not, we can't go up, we can't go down. I'll accept that modification.
All right.
Commissioner?
Mr. Chair, I want to rescind my second on that, then. I don't want to.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Commissioner Cummings, I see you in queue. I have a comment relative to office budgets, but
I just wanted some clarification. I thought we had a motion on the floor, and so what Commissioner Proctor did was
He made a
an
second.
amendment, and you accepted it. Is
I
that
accepted
where we
this
are?
amendment.
Okay, and it's been
I second.
seconded as well.
I
Okay.
second it, yes, ma'am.
That's
So,
all I need.
Commissioners, real quick relative to the point of office budgets. In my briefing, I spoke to the county administrator relative to office budgets, and I was going to actually bring this up to the board prior to Commissioner Proctor bringing it up, but I know everyone uses their office budgets completely different. Some folks use it more for travel or going to educational ceremonies. 90%, I don't want to, give or take, of how we use our office budget in District 2 is to communicate with residents in our district, most of whom don't have internet, don't have really other ways to stay in TV, don't really have ways to stay informed of what's going on in their local government. And we're doing that by sending newsletters via mail. And the price of mail has gone up significantly. We don't even have enough money in our office budget to send a piece of mail once a year to everyone in our commission district. And so when I was speaking with the county administrator of a way to where we keep our office budgets fluid in a way to where we have enough money to communicate efficiently with our constituents, I just brought up the idea of what if we set a small, we have give staff direction in our policy to where every year when we have our office, they tie it to an inflationary measure. So it comes back to us and say, hey, if they do a calculation that with travel or communication, they think it's 3%, then every year it would come back to us at a 3% or give or take. I don't know how much it would be. I'm just throwing numbers out there. So that way, we all have the ability to communicate, and then we don't have to come and say, hey, let's increase it by 10,000 or 15 or 5,000, whatever it may be. I think it's a fluid way based on a formula. I think it's also a fair method in regards to being fiscally responsible for taxpayers. So I say that just to kind of open the floor for conversation to see if any other commissioners have any thoughts to that. I see Commissioner Cummings. Are you still in the queue?
Well, I'll just comment to your proposal. I think that's reasonable. I think it's not arbitrary or capricious because we're tying it to an index, and we're tying it into what we do for our constituents in the community in our various districts. So I think it's reasonable, and probably necessary. Otherwise, some of the communication will go lacking.
Yes, ma'am.
So I like that. I like that proposal, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Proctor, your point. I do have the vice chair in queue.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm going to oppose an increase in our office budget because we are talking about hard decisions when it comes to...
On point, I'm going to modify my motion, Commissioner Proctor. We can take it up after we get through 2 through 5. Can we do that? I understand that, but if we want to take out separately the piece that talks about the office budget, does it have to be a part of 4?
No, I think we can pull it out, have a separate motion on
Okay,
that.
so 2 through 5, pulling out the office budget piece.
-4.
No, we can still do 4. Okay, we'll pull out 4. So 2, 3, and 5, we'll discuss 4 after. That's my motion.
But you also have option 1 with your recusal
Right,
in that case.
right.
Okay, so I second that motion. Everyone clear the motion on the floor?
Repeat one more time.
2, 3, and 5.
Thank you.
Okay. I second the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, can I see a motion for option 1?
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Welch, second by Commissioner Proctor. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. So now we're on the discussion of office budgets.
Oh, yeah, I was in recusal.
I think the record's already been reflected on that. So, Commissioner Monty, we're talking office, well, we need a motion on the floor for office budget, so,
Move option 4, Mr. Chairman.
okay. Option 4 has been moved. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Minor. Commissioner Minor, you're recognized. Correct, correct.
No.
Yeah, that's what option 4 is, Commissioner Proctor.
Option 4, and what I'd ask Commissioner Maddox to consider, and which he, I guess, withdrew, is that we look at that at $27,000 to accommodate rising prices. And most of our conferences now is $1,000 just to go, to sign your name. The conference registration is a grant. It's just gone up, and our money's.
All right, Commissioner Proctor. So we have Commissioner Proctor's motion to move it to $27,500. That's the motion on the floor. Is there a second? I'll second the motion on the floor. So we have a motion on the floor to have office budget set at $27,500. Commissioner Minor, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Proctor, I understand the sentiment here. Prices are increasing. I would say if you talk about increasing.
I think your microphone's not on.
Commissioner Proctor, I understand the sentiment of this. I mean, prices are increasing everywhere. As you're describing this and proposing this, I'm thinking, well, so are the prices of the costs of the nonprofits that we're supporting by this agenda item. Everyone is feeling the same cost pressures. We just increased the office budget a couple of years ago to $23,500, and I feel like I can work within that budget level. I'm going to vote against the motion on the floor because I think the $27,000, I understand the need, sir, but I believe I can work within my means at $23,500. The $3,500 increase is a 10% increase, which is more than the cost of inflation over the past year. So I'm voting against the motion, and I urge my colleagues to vote to keep the $23,500 as our budget amount. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
One second, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Minor, would you support a concept of having an inflationary measure rolled back to us every single year, that staff has the authority to basically look at the inflation amongst our office budgets and bring us back a recommended number?
I would support that in lieu of the $27,000.
Okay,
yes.
Commissioner Proctor, will you amend your motion to reflect that?
No. Let me ask, Mr. Chairman, is it required if we put $27,000, as Commissioner Minor has indicated, he don't need that much. He may not need to spend but $7,000, but he doesn't get penalized because he didn't spend any money, did he? I mean, he leaves it there. But the place, if he needed or wanted to, he had 27, but he's not mandated to spend all of it. All right, how does that work? Does the money go to Vince Long for his, bonus, or what happens with the money if you don't spend it? No pun intended.
Commissioner O'Keefe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to oppose this increase, and I'll keep it simple. We, like so many local governments, are going to be facing incredibly difficult budgetary challenges facing us, and I think that a lot of the information we're receiving in some of our community health assessment reports and other reports are that any dollar we can spend on community improvement is where it ought to be. I'm comfortable with the current office budget, and I'm just not comfortable at a time when so many citizens are asking us to be ready for tough decisions on budgets and to put what our community needs first. I'm not comfortable with an increase. Thank you.
Yeah, real quick, point of information. Remember, guys, this is a maximum level threshold, so we can always scale it back. This is the maximum number we're discussing, so pending what happens in the legislature and our budget, I'm assuming we would all be like scale back the office budget. So, Commissioner Proctor, I'm going to ask you again, will you amend your motion to reflect the idea of rolling it with inflation and giving staff the authority to do so?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have the motion amended by Commissioner Proctor to direct staff to come up with an inflationary measure every budget cycle and come back to us. Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. I'll second that motion. I think that's very collegial of you. Commissioner Cummings, you're in. She pulled herself out of queue. Commissioner Maddox, you're in queue.
I I hear Commissioner Proctor's conversation about conferences, but I think the bigger concern is when, and I don't know how many of you do this. I don't know if my office has done it, but when we're sending out mail, and Commissioner Caban, as you said, you can't get a piece of mail out to your whole district if you wanted to. And it made me think, you know, the uses that we've had for our budgets, usually our office budgets usually have been related to travel in the past. But when you think about, if we're talking about mail and other communications we may want to send out, you know, do we talk about, because there are commissioners who don't travel. Well, if you don't travel, then you're just using it for mail. Then I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm a little bit, I'm okay with the inflationary measure there, but I'm also trying to wrap my mind around this thought of how do we, if you want to send out something from me, I guess you have to just manage it yourself. Mr. Chair, I'll support the motion on the floor.
Commissioner Welch?
Yeah, just a question, Mr. Chairman. So have we removed the increasing it to 27,000?
Correct.
We're back to like a staff discretionary adjusted based on a calculation of simply
Correct.
inflation?
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay, I can support that.
Okay,
Mr.
awesome.
Chair.
I think we're in a good place. Commissioner Cummings?
Yes, just for clarification, if we're looking at inflationary measures, we want staff to bring something back. When would this be effective? When do we
County Administrator?
anticipate effective date?
Sure. Well, going forward, certainly if the board would like that inflationary adjustment to consider this year, we could, I mean, that would be something that you may want to specify in the motion. But going forward, we would assign the right inflationary index, given the nature of your spending. We would come up with an inflationary index based on the nature of your budgets. That wouldn't be a problem for us to do. And each year, if it's okay with the board, again, we might have a little ordinance cleanup to do relative to this, since we wouldn't be bringing this back necessarily for you to establish this budget each year. Again, it would be like other budgetary items that have an inflationary index assigned to them, and we would just present that as a part of the overall budget for you each year to approve.
Awesome. Good. All right, commissioners, let's vote on the question on the floor. We have a motion moved by Commissioner Proctor, second by Commissioner Cummings, I believe. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Passes 6-1. Mr. County Administrator, do we have any business left on this item? Is that it? I think that's it, right?
That is all, Mr. Chairman.
Awesome. Commissioners, thanks so much. We are now on item 18. But before we start number 18, I would like to recognize, we do have former Commissioner Mary Ann Lindley in the building. Hi, Commissioner. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. So we are on number 18. Mr. County Administrator, will you introduce this item for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item seeks the board's consideration for placing a non-binding county-wide advisory referendum on the November 3rd general election ballot to gauge voter sentiment on the potential consolidation of Leon County and the City of Tallahassee governments. Consistent with the board's direction from your December 9th meeting, the item provides two resolution alternatives with ballot titles and summary language for board's consideration. The item also summarizes implementation steps should the board wish to pursue the straw ballot referendum on consolidation by placing the referendum on the November general election ballot. Both resolution alternatives, commissioners, place the same underlying non-binding straw ballot question before the voters. Alternative one seeks the voters to vote on whether or not to explore consolidation generally. Option two asks the same question but frames that under the Leon County governmental structure and leadership. Again, commissioners, the proposed referendum would be advisory only and would not in and of itself consolidate Leon County and the City of Tallahassee governments. Just a reminder, the state constitution requires a consolidation plan to be approved by a special act of the legislature and then approved by the electors in a subsequent referendum. The straw ballot, however, can be used by the board to gauge voter sentiment and to inform the board of any future decisions you'd like to make. With that, commissioners, we're seeking your direction on options 1, 2, 3, or 4. And happy to answer any questions you might have. I have no speakers on this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of our board, I found it interesting, and I see.
You gotta make a motion, Commissioner Proctor.
Yeah, I want to make option 2, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion on option 2, second by Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner Proctor, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I apologize for just jumping the gun, but I saw the chairperson and other members of the CSC, the Charter Review Committee. And it was very interesting when this came up in front of the Charter Review. I attended maybe 3 or 4 of its sessions. And it was very interesting that when this measure came up, that it passed the Charter Review Committee was seeking additional information on consolidation. It was 17-2 vote. And that was one of the largest margins of voting that I observed as I watched deliberations this session of Charter Review. And there's no doubt that momentum is an inclination toward. I learned some other anecdotal things relative to a NEBA meeting recently, which, though a different question, but no doubt confidence of the public in our county's government. I'm going to listen to other commissioners. I'm just very happy for the option that we have and pray that for non-binding, merely a straw ballot, to give our community the democratic process. And that was something that many people wanted to decide about the hospital. And it was just, the community was just denied that access to vote it. And I think that this is not an issue that we want, but the question is this an issue that we're willing to allow the public to participate in? And so for those reasons, that I'm totally a democratic-based person, and as often as it's possible to afford the public, the community, their voice, their input in November's election means a lot to our community. So for those reasons, I've offered this motion and encourage your strong support of this measure as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. I have Commissioner Welch, Commissioner Cummings, and Commissioner Minor in that order. Mr. Immediate Past Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. You know, when we first broached this item months ago, I believe I said something to the effect of, like, you know, the details matter in this regard. And I think a straw ballot with no detail, as option 1 would provide, doesn't accomplish much. And so, you know, I know this might ruffle feathers across the street at the city, but it does provide some level of detail to voters about what they want in terms of city or county structure. So in that regard, I will wholeheartedly support the non-binding non-binding question on the ballot. I think it will inform us all as elected officials very well about what folks want. And then if people talk to us in the community and ask what this is all about, we can say, you know, which do you prefer in terms of a governmental structure? Do you prefer 7 elected officials, 5 representing districts and 2 representing the entire county, or, you know, at large, 5 at-large commissioners? You know, who do you think should run the fire department? Who do you think should run law enforcement? You know, it gives us an opportunity to answer those questions with some level of specificity. So I'm going to support the motion on the floor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Immediate Past Chairman. Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When this was first brought before us, can you hear me? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I made it clear that I have never been in favor of consolidation, city and the county. When it came up on the referendum, I believe in the 90s, the very last one that we had, I voted against it. I just don't believe it would be cost effective. I believe people would lose their jobs. I don't believe it would result in efficient services to the constituents. I believe over time we have shown that the city and the county has worked together very well, and we've got evidences of it. We've got Sheriff's Department, we got the police, they work together. We have consolidated dispatch, other instances of the city working with the county, working together cooperatively. I think what has happened the last few months is a controversy with the city over the firefighter fee. Other than that, I don't believe we have had any major dispute with the city. And I think we've just always worked together. But I voted for this agenda item to come back, and I appreciate the information on the agenda item. I looked back on the information that was presented to us a couple of months ago, and I appreciate the county administrator and his staff because they gave us the history of efforts in the entire state of Florida trying to consolidate city and county. We only have one example, and that's Jacksonville, Duval. Duval. However, Mr. Chair, I also believe in the voters. I believe that if we put this to the voters, that they would look at it seriously and give us their opinion. So I will support a referendum on the ballot, trusting the citizens to weigh in on it. But my underlying notion is against consolidation. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much for those comments, Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, at a high level, consolidation seems like it could be a really good idea. Common sense would suggest that it would be more efficient and more cost effective. But as Commissioner Welch said, the devil's in the details. For example, Leon County has two very distinct parts, rural and urban. And the people living in these areas have very different expectations of level of service. How do we ensure that rural residents aren't paying more for services they don't want? And how can we ensure that rural residents continue to receive the level of representation that they deserve? Now, these are the types of questions we'll have to answer. If we can find a consolidation approach that is more efficient, more cost-effective, and more responsive for both the rural and urban areas, I think consolidation could be the right approach. Now, if voters support consolidation on the straw ballot in November, we'll all get to work. We'll collaborate with Leon County residents, and we'll develop the best plan possible. Then we'll go back to the voters and see whether or not they want to proceed with consolidation. So I support a referendum on the ballot. What I want to talk with you all about, though, is whether it's alternative 1 versus alternative 2. Alternative 1, for those of you that haven't had a chance to read the agenda item, alternative 1 basically asks to the people of Leon County, do you want to develop a consolidation plan for your approval at a later date? Alternative 2 says, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, do you want to develop a consolidation plan with us here at the dais to be the ones at the top of local government? To me, alternative 2 seems a little self-serving. In my mind, we should keep the question pure. Let's stick with alternative 1. If voters approve of it in November, we'll then have a clean slate and we can work with the public to come up with the best proposal. And when we work with the public to develop a consolidation plan, they may tell us that they want Leon County government as the government structure. But let's not force that option on them now before they've even had a chance to tell us what they want. So I support the referendum being on the ballot. I prefer to have alternative number 1. So with respect to the person who made the motion, I'd like to have a substitute motion for option 1, which would replace alternative 2's language with alternative number 1. Basically, it's a neutral question, a pure question to the voters of Leon County. Do you want us to consider developing, do you want us to develop a consolidation plan for your approval later? That's my motion.
Motion on the floor by Commissioner Minor for a substitute, substitute motion for option 1. Is there a second?
All right, I had to give it a go.
Motion fails. So
motion fails.
yeah, I'm going to go to Commissioner O'Keefe next. Commissioner Minor.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much for listening. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Commissioner O'Keefe, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have some questions for you to direct to the appropriate person as you wish.
You can speak freely.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you're trying to edit.
I take that back.
I'll have you know Siri is not a District 5 voter.
Who's running District 5 right now?
So the question on this very serious issue is the process. I want to make sure I understand the process and everybody understands the process. Actually moving forward with consolidation is totally separate from this straw poll, right? This straw poll is get an opinion, to get people's thoughts. Okay. Then that happens. Let's go to 2027, after 2026, whatever the results of this referendum are come out. The process to consider consolidation is someone has to go to the legislature, and the legislature has to pass a bill that structures how consolidation is going to be considered. And I believe they have to create a committee, and that helps decide what the structure will be proposed. And then that structure will go on a final referendum in front of the voters after that time period. And then if it passes, then the consolidation moves forward. Is that an accurate understanding generally of the steps?
Mr. Chairman, just Commissioner, that I wouldn't say that it's explicit that there has to be a committee. It's just that the legislative delegation has to approve a plan, and they have some broad discretion on how that plan is developed.
Okay, so I have a question about the legislative discretion on it, because one of the biggest issues we face is local control and home rule. We spend most of our session and our lobbying efforts defending our local control. And so my concern is, and I want to know, to the extent we pursue a consolidation and have to get something from the legislature, what kind of influence might that open the door to our local government structure from the legislature?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, to answer your question, our legislative delegation, because it has to be a special act, really has the discretion. They may accept a plan from the county. They may make a suggestion that before you bring us a plan, you do something in terms of community feedback or a committee process, but there is a lot of discretion, and we wouldn't know what that would be until we approached our legislative delegation about it.
Now, our delegation would theoretically bring the idea to the House and the Senate, but ultimately it's like any other legislative act. The majority of both bodies, which generally their general values have not always been in line with what our community's values are. I'm not asking you to opine on that part, but the majority still has the final say on what comes out of it.
Correct.
And then if the motion that's on the floor theoretically passes, which is Leon County government takes over and the city folds in, since this is non-binding, theoretically, the city might not join our effort with our local delegation to get things, a structure or a plan from the legislature. You may see where they lobby their delegation opposite, right? Any government could lobby to get the plan approved from the legislature that they prefer. Is that sort of an open possibility?
Yes, I couldn't really speculate on what would happen, but certainly that would be part of the process.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, I don't see anyone else in the queue, so before we take it to a vote, I'll say this. Commissioner Minor, I thought 95% of what you said as you were talking, I was nodding my head, agreeing, because I think what you said was so eloquently, how you laid out the steps and the thought process behind that. And I really do believe that is the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish. However, I do think that option 2 is the better option, and I plan to support the motion. The reason for that is because this has come to the ballot in the past, but from my understanding, it's never been asked in this way. And to me, I've heard the arguments about, this may infringe on our rural communities. And my position on this is the opposite. I think this protects our rural communities. Because when you look at a city annexation map, which shows year over year over year, the city expanding its boundary. I mean, they're pushing on Bannerman Road. They're pushing west on Highway 90, soon to be past Capitol Circle. Commissioner O'Keefe, it's only a matter of time before they start infringing east. And I think there's no one better to legislate for our rural communities than our Leon County commissioners. And ultimately, this is about democracy and asking the voters what they want. If this comes back and the voters don't want it, well, I think it's pretty clear that this is a dead conversation. If this comes back with an overwhelming majority, then I think it's worth us pursuing the conversation and moving forward with what voters asked for. If it comes back and it's 50-50, well, I think that's a conversation this board is going to have. But from my opinion, from where we stand today, this is a straw poll to gauge voter interest. And I think this is putting the ultimate decision at the hands of the voters. And that's why I full-heartedly support option 2. So with that being said, commissioners, I'm gonna ask for a vote on Commissioner Proctor's motion, which is seconded by Commissioner Cummings, to move staff recommendation option 2. All those in favor, approval of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Passes 6-1 with Commissioner O'Keefe in dissent. Commissioners, great conversation. We are now on item number 19.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, as requested by the board, this item seeks consideration of a proposed board-initiated charter amendment to remove outdated statutory references in the Leon County Charter and specifies procedures for amending the charter in the future. It's mostly a cleanup item that we've discussed with the board in the past. Again, the item recommends option 1, and we have no speakers on this item.
Chairman, I move option 1.
Motion moved by Commissioner Proctor for option 1, seconded by Commissioner Cummings. Commissioners, any discussion? Seeing none, passes unanimously. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, I'll take just a little more time with this one. Again, this is a status report on the 2025-26 Leon County Citizen Charter Review Committee. The item provides that status report and the process and seeks board consideration of the committee's recommendations. The charter review process, commissioners, takes place every 8 years, and the board appointed 21-member CRCC convened in September, and we're providing the committee with, or the board rather provided the committee, as you will recall, with broad discretion to review any and all relevant issues. The committee conducted 9 regular meetings from October through February, which began with a full overview of Leon County Charter, the process to amend the charter, the history of charter county government in Florida, their bylaws, and guidance on the charter appropriate subject matter. Charter amendments, commissioners, are generally, as the board is aware, reserved for broad issues of governmental authority and structure and powers, and generally not operational detail or program-specific policy. However, the CRCC or the CCRC sought to explore areas outside of the charter to make policy recommendations to the board as well. So you have a couple of charter policy recommendations from the committee. Policy recommendations generally concern matters that are more appropriately addressed through the board's strategic planning process, your budgetary process, of course, your legislative process through the establishment of policy and ordinance adoption. Commissioners, the Charter Committee approved 2 policy recommendations and 3 proposed charter amendments for the board's consideration. The number of charter recommendations isn't surprising at all. It's consistent. If you'll recall, back in our first Charter Review Committee, the committee recommended 7 amendments. Most recently, 8 years later, in 2017, the committee recommended 2. In both cases, the board refined the number of the committee recommendations to be placed on the ballot. This status report provides the board with options for each of the proposed policy recommendations and the proposed charter amendments. Commissioners, importantly, the board may accept, reject, or modify any of the proposed charter recommendations advanced by the committee. Modifying a charter recommendation, however, commissioners will make it a board-initiated amendment, which requires a separate statutory requirements, including public hearings and associated timelines. Based on the board's direction on the proposed charter recommendations, there are 2 paths to proceed with placing the recommended charter amendments on the November ballot. Again, one path calls for the board to take up the charter amendments that you accept from the committee as board-initiated charter amendments. Even if the board doesn't make modifications, again, you can accept these as board-initiated charter amendments and schedule public hearings in May to adopt the ordinance and place the charter amendments on the November ballot. The other path would continue to leave it with the CCRC, the committee, to proceed with their public hearings in June and July, to be followed by board public hearings in August to place the charter amendments on the ballot. The item details the requirements and limitations of both paths. Mr. Chairman, staff is prepared to provide a presentation on each of the recommendations if the board so desires. However, I recognize that the agenda materials are extensive and the board may wish to jump right in. And of course, we're happy to answer any questions you might have. So with that, as always, we are available to answer any questions. And I'm sure the commissioners, there'll be a lot of accolades going to the charter committee, but let us, as your staff, add our voices to that. We really appreciated all their hard work. With that, Mr. Chairman, you have several speakers on this item, and at your direction, I could go to the speakers.
Thank you. Before we go to the speakers, may I ask anyone who participated, was a member of the Charter Review Committee, will you please stand? Awesome. I just want to say thank you all for your service. I know it was a lot of time and a lot of meetings, so thank you all to each of you. Let's give them a round of applause, Commissioner. Let's go to our speakers, Mr. County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first speaker, Ernie Payne.
Thank you. I'm Ernie Payne from 2006 East Indian Head Drive. Last fall, I submitted a proposal to the CCRC for a charter amendment to create an Office of Inspector General, or OIG. The committee voted unanimously to direct staff to bring back analysis for consideration. The analysis that staff brought back, however, was not of the original proposal. The staff offered for comparison 4 of the largest counties in Florida, all with budgets much larger than Leon's. Discussion emphasized the potential for duplication to the financial auditing services provided by the clerk of court, according to constitutional mandate. The CCRC voted on a misleading image of an overblown and duplicative office. Without fully hearing a response to the staff report, the CCRC voted against passing this proposal on to you. Given the arguments as presented, I would have voted against it as well. The initial proposal was actually for a much smaller Leon County OIG, provided with subpoena power and whistleblower authority, which can take advantage of, not replace, the clerk's financial auditing services already provided and budgeted for. It would focus instead on investigations into ethics violations, fraud, waste, abuse, and misconduct, investigative services that the clerk does not provide. This role would only be possible for a fully independent office with whistleblower authority, since those people in a position to be aware of improper activities are also reluctant to report them without a guarantee of protection from retaliation. Staff discussion at the CRCC, or the CCRC, indicated a current non-centralized approach for whistleblower complaints, with these responsibilities, when they arise, being divided between the county administrator, the county attorney, and HR. All of these people do a good job of protecting county assets, but they lack the independence required to process whistleblower complaints properly. My proposal creates a structure to establish this independence and creates a single point of contact for reporting issues. Leon County government has historically been free of the kind of corruption that has been seen in Tallahassee government in recent years. But we can't allow this to blind us to the fact that corruption does exist in the world, and even in this town. Please reconsider this charter amendment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Catherine Baer.
Hi,
Hi, my name is Catherine Bear, and I live in the Woodgate subdivision here in Tallahassee. Chair and board, I am speaking as one of the representatives of Citizens for Ethics Reform, and I'm sure you guys have all heard about us and the work that we've done on the city level. And we are asking you guys to reconsider the Charter Review Committee recommendation establishing an independent Office of Inspector General with real whistleblower protections. The committee dismissed it. We believe it was based on incomplete information. We are asking you to take a look into this before you vote. Leon County has an internal audit division inside the clerk's office. It reviews finances. It is a competent function, but it's not whistleblower protection. There is no named inspector general, no confidential reporting channel, no single source for county employees to go to, no independent person standing behind or between a whistleblower and the people that they are reporting. Florida's Whistleblower Act only provides a remedy after retaliation has already happened, and it directs employees to report through the very chain of command that may be the problem. A county employee who sees something wrong is asking one question: if I come forward, who's going to protect me? And who does this person answer to? Leon County has no good answer for this. Miami-Dade and Broward are definitely the gold standard, and Miami-Dade is the national model. Yes, their budgets reflect this, but the committee used them to argue Leon County cannot afford an OIG as well, and that is the wrong conclusion. St. Johns County, comparable to Leon County in size, has a named accredited inspector general under a formal charter right now. It is not the gold standard, but it proves the concept is affordable and is achievable as a starting point. Independence, a named OIG, confidentiality by default, separation from chain of command. It costs nothing extra. These are design choices. St. John's made them. Leon County has not. We know that the board is concerned about being targeted by unfounded complaints. A well-designed OIG solves that. Investigations are confidential. An unfounded complaint that gets screened and closed never becomes a headline. A professional IG, not a political actor, screens every filing before a case opens. The current structure has no filter at all between bad faith complaint and public attention. So we are asking you to direct the county attorney to study what the properly structured independent OIG would require for Leon County and report back within 90 days, with St. John's as a near-term model and Broward as the standard to build on. We ask that you represent Leon County's employees because they deserve better. Thank you.
The next speaker, Ben Wilcox, to be followed by the final speaker on this item, Bruce Strobel Jr.
Good afternoon, members of the Leon County Commission. I'm Ben Wilcox. I'm also a member of the group Citizens for Ethics Reform, and I am here today in support of a proposed charter amendment to create an Office of Inspector General for Leon County. Inspector Generals exist across every level of government in Florida for detecting, investigating, and preventing matters of fraud, waste, abuse, mismanagement, and misconduct within government organizations. The citizens of Leon County deserve to have their voices heard on this issue. In my experience, anytime an issue dealing with ethical and honest government is put before the voters, it enjoys overwhelming support. Please reconsider the decision of the Charter Review Committee not to recommend including this charter amendment on the ballot. Thank you.
Final speaker on this item, Bruce Strobel Jr.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Again, my name is Dr. Bruce Strobel, and I live in District 3 here in Leon County, and I had the honor of serving on the Citizens Charter Review Committee. It was an opportunity to engage in a critical level of the democratic process, and I'm here because I wanted to speak on one of the proposals that tied 9-9 in a vote. It was a Well, before I do that, I do want to acknowledge the work that has already been done by the county. They've invested in housing, healthcare access, infrastructure improvements, human services, and communities that have experienced persistent hardships. But what I want to discuss now is not necessarily whether the county has acted in good faith, but the question of whether Leon County should have a consistent and transparent framework for evaluating long-term impacts of historic public policy decisions and integrating those findings into future planning. The proposal that came out of the charter review process did not seek to create any spending mandates. It does not create any race-based programs, and it does not override or conflict with federal or state law. What it does establish is a governance structure, and it requires the county to conduct periodic historical impact audits so that we can understand how past public policy decisions affect us today. We discussed this at length. We got feedback from staff, and the committee split 9-9. With that level of support, and even some of the people who voted against it saying they did so reluctantly, we think it's something that will be in the best interest of our local democracy to pass that on to voters. So I think Commissioner Caban said earlier, this is about democracy. I second that sentiment that we should reconsider this and pass it on to the voters. Thank you very much.
Mr. Vice Chairman, that concludes our speakers. Let me just say, too, that I failed to recognize Mary Ann Lindley, who is the chair of the committee. Again, the committee did a great job throughout. We thank them for that, but especially our chairman, Commissioner Lindley, was great working with her again. She jumped right on the bike like there was no time since she'd been chairman of a county commission. So with that, Mr. Vice Chairman, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. County Administrator. I think it would be most orderly if we go option by option on this one.
It's board direction.
Do we have a second?
No, I want to speak on it.
We have a motion for option one. Do we have a second?
Well, it's board direction.
Okay.
So you want to provide that direction?
Yeah, option one was, okay, AB, with the direct staff to prepare the board-initiated charter amendment providing uniform community street naming, and also accept the CRC's recommendation encouraging the county to work with the city on it. So I'll just start there.
Commissioner Maddox, repeat your motion on the floor right now.
You want for the first one?
Yeah, the first one. I'm just going to take that up real quick.
So we're on 2A?
Yeah, 1A and B.
1A and B?
It's only, you got to pick one of those.
Okay, 1A.
Mine doesn't have.
Page 18 of the report.
994 in your book is what I got.
What's the sheet of paper? I don't have the sheet of paper. Can I get some paper, please?
994?
Yes, ma'am, page 994.
I don't have that, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to get some.
Mr. Chairman, I could.
Yeah, I'm looking at my options.
Sure.
Are looking a little different, so I'm trying to see where my issue is. 1 second.
CRC, you got the CCRCs and then you have
What they're looking at.
board initiated.
Have that in this report. I don't know.
Gotcha, options. Okay. I see where we're at.
Happy to help out on that one if you'd like
Yeah.
any clarification.
1 second, commissioners.
Yeah.
All right, so I see it right now.
Mr. Chair,
All right.
I'll move item A. How about
Commissioners, 1 second, please. Commissioners, please, let's keep on topic. All right, so Commissioner Maddox, you're recognized. You're going to move
Move option A.
1A?
Yes.
Okay. We have,
Mr. Chairman, on readiness.
okay, 1 second. We have a motion on the, we have, okay, we're on general business number 20. We're going through the options one by one. Commissioner Maddox moved option 1A. Is there a second? I'll second that.
Mr. Chair, what is 1A?
We don't have a 1A, Mr.
It's
Chairman. I'm trying to tell you.
CCRC policy recommendation or
Yes, you do.
potential board initiated amendment.
For board initiated amendment?
The difference is the potential board initiated amendment would allow the county to establish street renaming standards as opposed to working with the city to establish.
Correct.
Street name?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So that's been moved by Commissioner Maddox. I second it. Real quick, do we have someone that can talk about the backstory on how that, I guess it was talked about public safety related to that item?
Sure, happy to do that, and I can be backed up by any of our staff. Mr. Chairman, I'll give the quick overview and then be happy to answer any questions that you might have. First, let me start with what the Charter Committee did first. And again, I think it's clear there, the Charter Committee decided, at least in their consideration, that they did not wish to make a recommendation to you to advance a charter amendment recommendation on this item, but rather a policy recommendation which just encourages you to work with the City of Tallahassee to address this issue. That notwithstanding, your staff made a recommendation or provided another option to you from a timing standpoint, that if the board did wish to pursue a board-initiated charter amendment on this issue, then now was the time to give us that direction. Go into what the chairman asked about in terms of why this issue. Obviously, I think the board's very well aware that street naming issues are very critical. Oftentimes, they do not really recognize jurisdictional boundaries. We have streets that go from inside the city into the county, and sometimes segments of streets change names many times. That creates an issue for first responders in terms of responding to different sounding names and that sort of thing. Also, the sequencing of numbers is very important with addressing, and for that reason, the process that the county goes through is one where we have an addressing committee that looks at all of the street renamings and makes a recommendation based on sequencing and duplication of names and public safety to avoid any of those issues. I think as the item points out, I think the city recently has gone through a number, maybe a dozen or so street renamings very recently. And so the issue was elevated to your consideration with whether or not you wished for there to be a charter amendment that provides that to the extent that there's a conflict in a uniform street renaming process, that the county's process would prevail. And just to make sure I didn't say anything wrong, of course, I'll always defer to our county attorney. So, but with that, happy to answer any more questions you might have.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Keefe, you're recognized. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not going to make any substitute motions or anything, but I'm going to oppose the motion here because I want to reserve what will be an already very full and long ballot in 2026 with our referendums and amendments, state referendum amendments for things that are significantly structural. And while this isn't not important, I think this is the type of thing we ought to be working with the city on and not. It just didn't rise to the level of charter amendment for me. So that's just my explanation, but I'm not going to try to shake it up by any substitute motions.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, it's and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Administrator, but my recollection of this issue, Commissioner Proctor, if you recall, was the city changed its ordinances to totally leave us out of the involvement in street naming. And hence you've seen several street namings in the last year or so without any consent from us.
We had one right by the building last week.
Correct. And so the board initiated amendment as opposed to the CCRC recommendation, the potential board initiated amendment, which in this case is option B in our for colloquial terminology here. If the first one is A, then this one's B. Direct staff to prepare a board-initiated charter amendment providing for uniform countywide street naming, renaming, and property numbering, addressing standards to be established by county ordinance, which shall prevail in the event of a conflict. So this is a should county ordinances prevail or city ordinances prevail issue, question about street renaming. And given that information, I will support option B as opposed to option A. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There's a motion on the floor.
All right, Commissioner Cummings, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, I'm concerned about this as well. And I'm concerned about the motion on the floor. And I'll say this, and I might do a substitute, Commissioner Maddox.
I rescind my motion.
But we're talking about ultimately.
I'll rescind it.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Maddox rescinded his motion.
It's not his motion.
I'll rescind, on point. I mean, honestly, the street naming thing, I could go either way with it. I just wanted to get it started on something.
You rescinded your motion?
Whatever y'all want to do with it.
Okay.
Street naming is
Well,
not-
Mr. Chair, I move on this item option 1B.
Okay. Second by Mr. Vice Chairman. Discussion, Commissioner Cummings, you're recognized.
Yes, we were talking about health, safety, welfare. We heard the county administrator talking about some streets having 2, 3 different names. There does need to be some uniformity, and I think for the expediency of it, it would be best if we could work with the city. The Charter Review Committee is recommending that we try to work with the city. Now, we can do the referendum, but it's not guaranteed that it would even pass anyway. If we, to give the county authority, if there is a conflict, that might not even pass. And so we're right back where we are. We've worked with the city. We've had a good working relationship with the city on other issues. On this one, I just don't see why we can't. So, hence my motion to accept the recommendation from the committee.
So, Commissioner, yeah, the recommendation was A.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, what is B? Accept. I'm sorry. Let me put my glasses on.
Commissioners, real quick.
B is a status quo.
Commissioners, real quick. So I have 2 other speakers related to this item, this option on 1. To me, this is a ballot initiative that asks us to work, the county to work with the city to align street naming policies, right? My question is this: why does this need to go as a charter amendment? Why don't we just direct staff to do that now? Because whether we put it as a charter amendment or not, yeah, but why put it on the ballot and not just make a motion?
Happy to clarify.
Please,
I'll make this very clear. Obviously, A is a charter amendment. B is a policy recommendation.
Gotcha.
The reason that the board may wish to consider the charter amendment is because there's no other way to compel the city other than a charter amendment to abide by a uniform standard of street renaming. No other way. They've exercised their existing authority to say we shall determine, the city, our street renaming process within the city limits. The option B is a good recommendation, but it's one that you've tried, for lack of a better term. Please.
A and B, right?
Yes?
A is the policy recommendation.
Here
B
they
is
are,
the board initiative amendment.
in your options. This is,
No, A is the charter initiative.
A is the charter amendment, B
Yeah, A
is,
is the charter amendment. So that's why I was confused by,
Okay, right here, they're switched.
right. I just noticed that on page 18
so
under
is
your
that a
options,
Scrivenger's error?
they're in the right order. Yeah, within the document, I think they're
Gotcha,
presented
makes sense.
differently.
Because that's what I thought, because when I was looking at this, I was confused when we first started the item. I was confused myself.
Gotcha. So on the under options,
Yes,
on your final page,
correct.
the first one is a board-initiated charter amendment, which is A. 1A would be a board-initiated charter amendment.
Correct.
B would be just to accept the
just to
policy
work with,
recommendation to continue to work with
Yeah,
the
so Commissioner, so
My
let me-
apologies, I was looking at the wrong thing, but it was the right thing, but in the wrong place. My apologies. You're right, 1A is the one I would support. Commissioner, sorry, I'm done.
correct. Yeah, so I'm gonna.
The motion is back in
Commissioner,
place.
guys, come on, let's be in a little out of order this meeting. 1A is a charter amendment that gives the county basically the authority to name, to manage all street naming countywide in Leon County. That will go on the ballot. Option B, 1B, is a policy recommendation that does not go on the ballot, that directs staff to work with the city to come up with a joint county-city street renaming policy. We had that in the past, is what we had that, okay? We had B already. Then what happened was, we voted no on a street naming, Commissioner Proctor's Mama's Road, okay? And the city changed their policy to keep the county out of it so that they could name roads without our approval, okay? That is the history of what has happened, I think, in the last 18 months. So, and I know we got 2 other people in the queue, but I think there was confusion. I was confused myself because it was listed different in the agenda. The motion on the floor for Commissioner Cummings is for option B. That's been seconded by Commissioner O'Keefe. We've already done that before in the past. I just want to say that so we're all clear.
B is the status quo.
Option A puts it on the ballot to put the county in the driver's seat on that issue. I personally would like to support option A. Okay? So now that the record's all clear, and I believe Commissioner Welch wanted to support option A as well. Okay?
Mr. Chair, I withdraw my motion.
Okay, she withdraws her motion. Do we have a motion for option B?
I move option A.
Proctor moves option B. Commissioner Welch, will you say
A.
B?
A,
Option 1B, moved by Commissioner Proctor.
1A, 1A.
1A, seconded by Commissioner Welch. I apologize. So right now, we have Commissioner Proctor's motion, 1A, seconded by Commissioner Welch. Is the motion on the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I think that,
I'm going to call the vote on this item right now because we're all clear. Okay? So, all those in favor of option 1A, moved by Commissioner Proctor, seconded by Commissioner Welch, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Nay. So, it passes 6-1.
all right.
I'm in affirmative, I apologize on that. We're on option number 2 now, food insecurity recommendation.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
As these are AB, 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 is A, are we to presume that A is what the Charter Review Commission, they recommended, and B is what?
That's a question for the county administrator.
No, you just got to read it. It's not consistent.
No, I want to know what we should have had here was what did the Charter Review Committee approve, what they considered, what they approved.
Commissioner Proctor, let's get a motion on the floor. Let's keep these going. Mr. County Administrator, let's get a motion on the floor.
I'll make a motion for option 2A with the added, I would like to add an annual report and an annual plan to the recommendation.
Okay.
Point of information.
Motion on the floor, 1 second, Commissioner Proctor, moved by 2A, moved by Commissioner Maddox, second by Commissioner Welch. You have a point of order?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, a point of
There's
order.
a point of order right now by Commissioner Proctor.
We gave a citizen review committee to deliberate these. I like to know what is their recommendation and what is not.
Well,
It's in the item, I believe.
yeah, so we were very clear in the item on every issue. You have in bold letters, staff recommendation versus charter committee recommendation throughout the item, consistently, same format. When you get under options, you've got all of the issues represented, and A either represents board direction or recommends staff recommendation. B generally follows the format of this was the CRC's recommendation if we're not recommending it. In some cases, we're recommending the CRC's recommendation. In some cases, we're not. So in this case, 2A represents the staff recommendation. 2B represents the recommendation of the CRC.
Mr. Chairman, what this board asked, I didn't know that, and I think it should be distinguished. We asked the CRC committee to give us their recommendation. We didn't ask staff to give their recommendation on the committee's recommendation. That's confusing to me. I want to hear from what the Citizens Charter Review had to say. And then I need it to be delivered in a way that is clear on what the Citizens Review Charter Committee had to say. And we didn't tell staff to make recommendations. We told the charter people to make a recommendation. And if it's not the charter's view, when staff is overriding them, nullifying, making this thing obfuscated, then hell, we need to be told the difference. I want to support what our Charter Review Commission people said first. And if they said something dumb or don't make sense, tell me why.
One second. We have a motion moved by, what motion is on the floor? Okay.
Each one of these needs to be distinguished.
Commissioner Proctor, Commissioner Maddox is modifying his
We
motion.
don't waste these people's time.
Now I understand the format. Thank you, Mr. Administrator, for the understanding modification. I want to make my motion for item 2B.
And what is that?
2B is to accept the CRC's policy recommendation encouraging the county to establish a division of food systems under Leon County Office of Human Service and Community Partnerships. And along with that, I would like to add an annual plan and an annual report come from the office that's going to be created for food systems.
Second.
Okay. Motion move 2B as amended by Commissioner Maddox, second by Commissioner O'Keefe. Second by Commissioner O'Keefe. Discussion, Commissioner Maddox.
First of all, I did get to watch the discussion on this, and I appreciated the robust conversation and even the places where we landed on this being a policy issue as it was originally going in the charter. I do think that this does reach the level of policy. I do like the idea of the fact that staff is already doing a lot of things within the office of our Health and Human Services office, but to pull this out as a specific office itself, given the nature of the seriousness of the food insecurity and food deserts we have in Leon County, is not a bad thing. And then to add that annual plan and annual report also takes it a step further. I know FAMU is working on some stuff. You know, we can get involved in that. And so I just think this is the right framework to be in. I appreciate the CRC for bringing it to us. And so I'm going to fully support that option B with the annual report and the annual plan.
Thank you, Commissioner Maddox. Commissioner Cummings.
Yes, yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think looking at number 2, I think if the county wasn't already intricately involved in addressing food insecurity in so many different ways, and especially through our nonprofits in our community, I would see how that policy recommendation could make a major difference in what we do here on the county level. But we are already addressing food insecurity. With the funds that we allocate, we just approved an agenda item that included many nonprofits that address food, the lack of food in our community. So I think we're already doing a great job. I'm not sure if we need to label it as a division of food services. And I think, Mr. County Administrator, can you or can somebody from your staff indicate just the level of financial involvement that we contribute to address food insecurity on an annual basis?
Sure, happy to do so, and I see Shinkton making his way there. But Commissioners, in some cases, there's just a minor difference between the CRC's recommendation and staff's recommendation. Staff, of course, would not abdicate our responsibility to weigh in on issues of legal issues, policy issues, financial issues. There's all kinds of issues that the board still needs to be advised of, which are reflected in staff's recommendations. So, but it's also very clear what the CRC's recommendations are. And so, in this case, yes, we recommended that that the county continue as a policy statement, not as a charter amendment, but as a policy statement, our longstanding commitment to reducing food insecurity in the community through our existing structure, through our partnerships, through engagement, through our critical programming and partnership throughout the community. That differed, and because we have staff assigned to that currently, and that's their responsibility, we made that recommendation that we did. The CRC's proposal went a little further and said to establish specifically, namely, a division of food systems. Because we don't control the entire problem, we rely on our partners, that kind of centralized structure, we believe that the structure that we have in place currently is a more effective structure, and it's one that you would not have to take on additional financial obligation for and that sort of thing. But again, I've got Shinkton here, the expert at the podium, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any other third?
Yes, I wanted staff, if he could just give us a general idea of the amount of revenue that we put toward addressing food insecurity in the county and especially in our marginalized communities.
Yeah, Commissioner, I'll say, Mr. Chair, that we do extensive work in this area of food insecurity. As you may remember, Commissioners, just very recently, you adopted during your board retreat a strategic initiative in supporting what FAMU is doing right now with establishing a food council. And we have been part of that conversation. The food council that doesn't just include the county, includes of the city, includes Second Harvest, includes Good News Outreach, includes Leon County Schools, includes our partners here in our community in addressing the need of food and food access in our community. In addition, commissioners, you did establish a position within the Office of Human Services and Community Partnerships a few years ago, specifically following the level of work that we did in reaching out to the neighborhoods with the highest food insecurity rates in the community. And because of that, what we learned from there is from those neighborhoods is that it's bigger than food. There's an issue of a need of knowing where are the resources are available in our community, and that's what led us to establishing that position, as well as establishing a committee, the Trusted People Committee, that has representatives from those neighborhoods, and it's from those neighborhoods that we are able to work with them to address food access, as well as issues regarding housing and human services. In addition to that, commissioners, just very recently, you also established a more formal partnership with Farm Share. And we recently started that process of having food distribution events in our rural communities, so that way we provide those abilities so that way they can get access to food. I can go on some more, and I'll add one more. One of the things that also came out in addressing the need for food access and working through the office that we have already existing and working with the partnerships that we have, we established a partnership and expanded our partnership with 211 Big Bend and their LIFT program, so people can have free transportation to food pantries, to supermarkets, in addition to doctor's appointments and other things like that. So it is something that we are on the streets, commissioners, working on every single day.
Thank you, Shinkton. And so my other question, I guess, Mr. County Administrator, whomever, what is involved from a monetary standpoint, from a fiscal standpoint, to establish a division of food system that would be different from what we're already doing? Or just to establish that division, is it statutory in the statute of what's required to establish a division?
No, it was Mr. Chairman and Commissioner, it was a part of a proposal that was advanced from a member of the committee and by the committee in terms of what was involved. Should the board adopt that policy recommendation to establish a division of food systems, that would be something that would have to come back to you as a budget discussion item.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you. I have Commissioner Proctor, then Commissioner Minor in the queue.
Mr. Chairman, one of the Dr. Strobel had been so passionate with this issue, and I don't know what the ultimate vote was. This, 21-0 or what? But, Mr. Chairman, we don't have a workshop. We're just getting this report, but Dr. Strobel was here, and in the final form in which this is coming to us in A and B. Have we reflected, may I ask Dr. Strobel a question?
Of course.
Okay. Dr. Strobel, related to Commissioner Cummings' question was, I think, what brings this, and your passion in the meetings that I saw you in, speaking to our need to elevate this, that food itself is just a basic human right in our community. Does what is recommended tonight reflect y'all's board, where you resolved and where you settled at, sir?
Yes, Commissioner Proctor, the current CCR recommendation, it went through a lot of deliberation. I originally was moving for a charter amendment. At the advisement of other members on the committee, we actually voted to simply give you all the policy recommendation to create the division due to the extreme food insecurity that is being across the country and that affects Leon County as well. Recent reports will put that in times of severe food insecurity, we can have as many as 30,000 residents in the county who are food insecure. That fluctuates when things get better, but we would like to see the county serve as that coordinating agent.
Okay. Shinkton, how do we reconcile their policy recommendation with where we are and what y'all recommending? How do we reconcile, or is it already such?
So the things that Dr. Strobel mentioned is exactly what's being discussed every single monthly as part of the Food Council that FAMU has put together in addressing the issues of policy and putting together a plan. That is something that is being done right now to work to develop that in coordination with our partners, including the city, including Second Harvest, including our other nonprofit partners, commissioners. So that work is happening right now.
So what is the motion?
Please restate the motion.
The motion is to accept the CRC's policy recommendation and to add to that an annual report and an annual plan. Shington, can you mind?
That was 2B. That was 2B, right? 2B is
2B.
amended, yeah.
Can I ask one point?
Yeah, you can, Commissioner Max.
The annual plan and annual report that you said is being worked on right now, who's in charge of that?
FAMU.
FAMU, do they have an office? What part of FAMU or?
It's their Office of Center for Hydroecology.
Center for Hydroecology. So they don't have anybody specifically dealing with?
Yeah, Dr. Sanu.
Okay, Sanu, okay, cool. Commissioner Proctor, thank you for that on point. I'll reserve the rest of my comments to after Commissioner Minor, but I wanted to ask that question. Thank you.
Commissioner Minor, before I'm going to take a quick moment of personal privilege. Commissioners, I think, this is just my opinion, this is such a big, in my opinion, issue in our community relative to food insecurity that I personally think that this should be its own agenda item. Come back to us at a later meeting. We still have so much time to make our decision relative to charter amendments. I think that we should, just hearing all the comments and questions from the commissioners, I myself have so many questions. I mean, Fort Braden and Woodville are both two food deserts, and I know food insecurity. Anyone who's been to my back to school event, we had 1,000 people show up both times. So, I almost feel like this should be, we give staff direction to come back with this as its own agenda item, coming with policy and language and give us more options to discuss. That's just my personal opinion. I think if we can still bring back a staff recommendation with Commissioner Maddox's motion here at the next meeting. But, Commissioners, I have so many thoughts relative to food insecurity that I think it maybe warrant its own agenda item in the future. Commissioner Minor, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Bruce Strobel and Ms. Serenity Williams and the CCRC and everyone who worked on this issue. It's as we've said and as you have said during the meetings, it's very important. I previously served as the CEO of Second Harvest of the Big Bend, and while there, we worked with 135 local partners. These were churches, nonprofits, soup kitchens, to deliver over 12 million pounds of food to people in need. That was a record amount of food at the time. So I know firsthand how well our regional food bank works within the community and with its partners. There's always room for improvement, but Second Harvest and its partners are very effective and very nimble at responding to the needs of people that are food insecure. And they do a good job collecting data, and they're happy to share that data with whomever requests it. And in 2022, Leon County, this commission, voted on a new strategic initiative to identify the 10 most food insecure neighborhood block groups. And that's basically, it's a part of land that's smaller than a census tract. It's a very granular area. It's like an apartment complex. We identified with Second Harvest and Feeding Florida's help the 10 most food insecure, the hungriest portions of our county. And Shington led the effort with his team. We met in every single one of those 10 areas, those 10 neighborhoods, reached out to the neighbors, asked them what barriers they had on food insecurity, had conversations with them about what they needed in order to receive the nutritious food they needed for themselves and their families. We did that in 2022. And the work that stemmed from that strategic initiative that you all voted for has led to where we are today. There's great work going on with regard to food insecurity. Leon County, though, is not leading that effort because Leon County should not lead that effort. You have Second Harvest of the Big Bend. You have Farm Share. You have a whole host of other entities that are out there. The 135 partners I talked with you about, the churches, the nonprofits, they all are all working with Second Harvest and Farm Share to identify where the need is and to make sure that those folks get the right food that they need. Now, is there room for improvement? Of course. Dr. Strobel and I Ms. Williams and I, we talked about that, and part of the findings from that effort in 2022 identified just what you all talked about. There are people out there that are not fully aware of the resources available to them with regard to food, but also regard to other services too. That's one of the things that we found from that effort in 2022. So that brings us to this agenda item. After reviewing this proposal, I called the current CEO of Second Harvest at Big Bend and spoke with her, and she corroborated what my feelings were about this agenda item. You know, I really do respect the time and effort from the CCRC, but because of my background on this issue, I feel like I know a thing or two about this. I'm not convinced that creating a new Leon County Division of Food Systems is the best way to improve the food system that we have at this time. I'm open to the idea in the future, but we need to work with Second Harvest. I spoke to Monique Ellsworth. She corroborates what I believe. A whole new division within Leon County government to oversee something that we don't have control over directly does not lead me to believe that's going to be more efficient. Instead, what we need to do is continue working with the partners that are on the field, on the ground, every single day, working to get food into people's hands. We can work with them. We have been working with them well, but what I would like to do is have a substitute motion for 2A with emphasis on increasing exactly what Dr. Strobel and I talked about. Increasing the emphasis on reaching out to people who may not be fully aware of the resources that we have available within this community, and presenting that annual plan back to the County Commission when it's ready. That accommodates Commissioner Maddox's statement from before. Listen.
Is that a motion for 2A?
That's my motion, my
Substitute motion on the floor for 2A as amended by Commissioner Minor, seconded by Commissioner Cummings. Any discussion on the substitute? Commissioner Welch.
Let me finish real quickly. Listen, food insecurity is
Commissioner
very...
Minor, I break, Commissioner.
I'll yield back
Okay,
to you.
Commissioner Minor.
Thank you. Food insecurity is very serious in the Big Bend. When I was at Second Harvest, Leon County, Madison County, Gaston County, we're up at the very top of the counties with the most food insecurity. It's a serious issue here. And I know we all want to respond and do the best we can. The step to take is not to create a new office in Leon County as a way to show how we care. The way to address it is to continue working in a good, strong way with the partnership that Shinkton has been leading in Leon County with the community partners. As someone who has worked in that field, that's the right way to go. As someone who spoke to the CEO of Second Harvest yesterday, she believes the same. So I know creating a new office in our county government feels like it's a solid step to show how much we care, but it's not the right step. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just real quickly say I'm kind of in between on this issue, but you convinced me, honestly. I think you're spot on, Commissioner Minor. I agree with you wholeheartedly. We're doing a lot. We do it better than most, and we work really well with our partners who are doing the most. And so I just don't think that the recommendation B is necessary. I know it feels good and it sort of scratches the itch that our CCRC wanted to get at in emphasizing the issue, but I think this very conversation we're having emphasizes the issue. And so I agree with Commissioner Minor, and I will support the substitute motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Maddox.
Mr. Chair, can I ask staff questions?
Of course.
Thank you. Mr. Administrator, Shinkton probably be the best one. Shinkton, you said we do a lot of this work already, right? And you said that about a year ago we hired someone to kind of coordinate some efforts around.
No, it's been 3 years now.
3 years ago, we did hire somebody, and they looked into a lot of things, and what came back was there were multiple things that we needed to look into. That folks were saying they were having problems with. It wasn't just food insecurity per se, but there were other things that person who we hired began to see as problems and issues and coordinate around.
No, so what we did was when we held those meetings in the communities and we determined that the highest need was the fact that people didn't know the resources that are available to communities.
Yeah.
That led to the board, based on staff recommendation, establishing a position within the Office of Human Service Community Partnership.
What's that?
That is the Office of Neighborhood and Community Engagements Coordinator. Mr. Marcus West is in that position right now.
How much of that office is focused on food insecurity? How much has that office done in the way of food insecurity?
I mean, all of it, because at the end of the day, what it's doing is it's specifically addressing the need of what focuses around the issue of food. So in addition to meeting with neighbors in the neighborhoods with the highest food insecurity rates,
yes,
and identifying ways that we can make sure, and working with also our partners at Second Harvest, that they are connected to the food pantries that are in those communities, as well as also connecting them with holding events like our Taste Bud Explorers events that we have, as well as working currently with Farm Share, so that way we can identify areas where we can hold our distribution events, now that we have something informal with Farm Share, and then also ensuring that they have access to those resources that also impacts them. So in addition to those events, commissioners, we're also holding events in the areas of issues like housing. We're addressing issues of healthcare, because it's a larger issue of them knowing where some of those resources are. And of course, the other piece is transportation, and ensuring that they're connected and being aware of the LIFT program that we work with 2-on-1 to provide them access to the pantries, the grocery stores.
You mentioned housing, right?
Yes.
We do have specific office that deals with housing within.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
My point is that we are doing a lot of this stuff already, and we're talking about establishing an office. It doesn't mean that we have to establish an office that has a fiscal impact to our budget. No. Sounds like we're already doing a lot of the stuff that they're requiring us to do, or they're asking us to evaluate. The only thing we don't have is an annual plan and an annual report. We could simply just say that we have an office of food, what do we call it, food systems, and we could use the existing staff that we have to build around that. And the only thing we will be adding, from what I understand, to the duties that have already been done would simply be the annual plan and the annual report. When I asked a question earlier about who was in charge of that coordinated plan that FAMU had going on, was my thought behind it was, well, if it's done this year, when it's done, who's going to take it up next year? And who's going to take it up the year after? Who's going to take it, is this committee going to stay together? Who's going to staff this committee? That kind of thing. I don't think it's a bad idea to continue to want these types of issues to be played out publicly with a public official or someone who's working for the public as the lead person in charge of it. But I understand exactly where Commissioner Minor's coming from, in that Second Harvest should have a pretty robust say in how this goes, because they do the majority of our food banking. But I still don't think this is a bad idea. Now, we talked about an agenda item. I think this is too big an idea to have within the conversation that we're trying to have it in right now. Maybe we bring it back as a workshop. We're evaluating the ideas of the CRC recommendation, along with the other partners that we talked about, hear a little bit more about what FAMU is doing, see if we can find some kind of long-term middle ground there that we can work within. And so, Commissioner Minor, what I would ask is that, because I'm seeing the writing on the wall here, is that along with your motion, that we will maybe have a workshop or agenda item come back looking at what our food systems actually look like in Leon County, and what do we have, what does it look like long-term with the annual plan and the annual report?
If I may interject, if I can just maybe try to land this plan in the middle, why don't we just do a food insecurity workshop?
I think that's what he was asking.
That's what I was asking.
Mr. Chairman?
Of course.
Commissioner Maddox, yes, I would happily add that to my motion.
Thank you.
And when this annual plan is ready, that would be a good trigger for us to have that workshop and review that plan. And also that will give the Food Policy Council at FAMU some time to discuss the issue, because right now, Dr. Strobel told me they're setting up their committees right now. So after they have a few months where they get a chance to sit down and talk about how this food system works and make recommendations, we can have that alongside the annual plan and be in a good position to make some decisions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm going to speak on this item. One, I agree with both Commissioner Minor and Commissioner Maddox. As you both were talking, I think both of you all made great points, and I like where the substitute motion landed. Commissioner Minor, I appreciate your collegiality to accept the substitute motion. Food insecurity is wholeheartedly, in my opinion, a larger issue in Leon County than what most realize. And if you go to some of our rural communities on the west side of Leon County and the south side of Leon County, there are kids that go to bed at night who don't get dinner, and their only source of meals come from school. And so I think that this needs to be had. We have to have a larger conversation. And I think really the sweet spot is incorporating what you said, Commissioner Minor, while also incorporating what Commissioner Maddox said. I don't think there's a problem with creating an office in-house at Leon County while also working with our nonprofit partners. And so, however, I do look forward to having this conversation in a workshop format. Yes, sir.
Only problem is, Commissioner Minor, I do think this type of conversation deserves public input. Can't have that at a workshop.
It'll be formalized in an agenda item. So
We could waive the rules.
Yeah, it'll be formalized in an agenda item also. So, Commissioner Proctor, O'Keefe, I see you both in the queue. Are we at a good spot where we can get unanimous on this item? No? Okay, Commissioner O'Keefe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can't support this because I think it should be created for a number of reasons. One, the recommendation of the CCRC is not even to go onto the ballot, it's to have us direct staff to. And I think it's worth listening to them. That's kind of the point of the CCRC. The other thing is, I think most of our discussion has been on food insecurity. It has been on food banks. It has been on transportation to food banks. It has been on to addressing people who currently are facing food insecurity. And what this initial proposal was to address the food system and to look more globally, because what leads to food insecurity might be what number of businesses we have that provide fresh food, what type of all kinds of other systemic things I don't know about yet because we don't have the information on a system. So I just want to point out the reason I'm opposing this is it goes against what the CCRC recommended, which represents our citizens, and they weren't even recommending that it go on the ballot. They were recommending that we direct staff and consider it. And I think that their point is well taken, that what we currently do is addressing food insecurity, which is important, but we don't look at the entire system and what might lead to food insecurity, and that's what we're missing, and that was their point. That's why I'll be opposing the substitute motion.
Okay, Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we had an illustrious panel of 21 members. They didn't suggest to this body a amendment charter, but they worked as a community advisory board to us that we might consider formulating a division. I disagree with Commissioner Minor in part to that the second harvest is, godfather of all things food and blah, blah. The persons charged with providing for health, safety, and welfare for this community is Leon County's government, not Second Harvest. And I know I'm speaking with great sensitivity to my own district, District 1, 32304, all the way down to Woodville. And when the federal government eliminated SNAP benefits, I know you're good districts and you don't feel that pain. And that's a great place to be. It's just wonderful not to feel pain. But District 1, we feel pain when SNAP benefits are eliminated. And Second Harvest just don't have the wherewithal to do, if there's an Office of Food in Leon County that deals with this issue in the interest of health, safety, and welfare. And what we saw when SNAP benefits dipped, we saw the Children's Services Council step up and aid the schools and say, we'll feed them, the children. And I believe Ms. Cummings, which y'all gave $300,000 to offset the failure of the federal government. I ain't seen Second Harvest step like that. So if Second Harvest continues their role, which would be augmenting an ancillary role, but when it comes to the heavy lifting, such as what we have seen in this past fiscal year, God knows you need, I think the recommendation coming from the citizens group to us, we should hear. They were great minds, and they put long hours on this question. The issue of global warming creates and fosters even greater food insecurity, potential threats to the existence. It's a global crisis. And I think that we would be ahead of the curve to go with the recommendation and toward how do we receive it. I think that all of us have chipped in to say that a workshop and looking at the elements of it. Now, we should do it. Commissioner Maddox laid it out. He laid it out. And it's not an either or. We can do both of these things and not put it on for a charter vote. That's not what it is. It's food. And most of us in here in a few minutes going to be wondering about some food, somewhere between now and in the morning. Food. It's on everybody's mind. Food. And it never goes away. It's a consistent human concern. Food. How does the world go to sleep every night? Hungry. So I would like to see, as pointed out by Commissioner O'Keefe, that a division of food systems with an intentionality in a volatile time where the federal government don't want to give poor people food. This is serious. It's like losing a $3 million grant. For what? You black. You don't get no money for being black. You don't get no food for being poor. We're in volatile times. And I believe that it strengthens our posture to serve the citizens, to go with the citizens' recommendation. And that's why I'll be supporting the the good option B. FAMU, I believe the A stands for agriculture. And the agriculture part should be a broader and permeate this community in a greater way. And I think the word agriculture somehow equals food. And I would love for the county, we've got the IFAS program. IFAS sitting out there on our property by the fairground. IFAS is over there in Gadsden County. Somewhere between IFAS, FAMU, and Leon County, when the SNAP program shut down, it shouldn't fall on Commissioner Cummings, their organization at the Children's Services Council. It needs to be, yeah. So I would support, I'm not going to vote for the motion, not because I don't want people to eat, but I think that Leon County recognizing the volatility of the times that we're in and what happened into my district when you cut SNAP, and there are additional threats to SNAP. We need the county to put on this big boy and big girls unders and stand up like grown men and women and provide for the health, the safety, and the welfare. And that's why my vote is symbolic to say I want more, not less. And this motion is for less. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Minor, then I'm going to close this out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, Commissioner Proctor just said voting for this motion is less, you know, as if voting for this motion is doing less for food insecurity. And I want to clear that up. This agenda item is not about, if you care more about feeding those that are hungry, vote to create a division of food systems. That's not what this motion is about. That's not what this agenda item is about. It's about trying to decide which is the best approach to continue our work on addressing food insecurity. And what this agenda item suggests is that should you create a division of food systems in order to get better at getting food to people in need. That's what this agenda item is about. So I got to push back on this idea that if you really care about feeding people, you got to vote for a new office in Leon County government. That is false. That is false. We're better than this. We should be able to get down to the details and understand the merits of the policy we're voting on. And I know we know food insecurity is a serious issue. I lived it as the CEO of Second Harvest of Big Bend. And I know a lot of you have constituents that you hear from all the time. But voting for a division of food systems is not going to show people that you're making a big, bold effort. It's the wrong step. At this time, let's have the Food Policy Council at FAMU meet. They're forming committees now. They'll talk about this. I'm sure Dr. Strobel will be there. I'll probably join some meetings. Let's let them deliberate on what they need. But I'm telling you guys, listen, yes, you had a 21-member CCRC. Deliberate on this. But you also have Shinkton, who has experience in this field, who's worked on it for years. You have Monique Ellsworth, who is the CEO of Second Harvest, who is doing an outstanding job, one of the best in the state, that I spoke with yesterday about it, who agrees with me, who also spent 3 or 4 years in Second Harvest. Listen to the folks that bring some expertise to the table, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Commissioners, I'm going to close this out. I hear where Commissioner O'Keefe is, Mr. Vice Chairman. I hear where Commissioner Proctor is. I don't think there's a single doubt amongst anyone in this board that food insecurity is a problem in Leon County. I am hoping that we can pass this substitute motion unanimously. Here's why. We're going to have a workshop, okay? Staff is going to come back, and I'm going to ask a dozen questions. I want to see a map of where the heat spots are in Leon County on food insecurity. I want to know everything that Second Harvest is doing to fight insecurity. I want to know what all our nonprofits are doing to fight insecurity. I want to know to the penny how much we're spending to fight food insecurity. And I want to know if we're going to have a division of food systems under Leon County, what is it going to look like? What do the details look like? How much money is it going to fund it? Who's going to run it? And how that partnership looks like with our nonprofits. At that point, I'm going to make my decision. I think to get to that decision, I think we need to have a workshop and we need to have the information. And I think that this is needed. There's a lot more we should be doing to fight food insecurity. And if the details come back, I'm probably going to support it because I think it's important. But I want to have all the information to get to that point. And so that's why I think where we are with Commissioner Maddox and amended motion with Commissioner Minor substitute, I think it's a good landing pad to carry the conversation forward. Again, I hope it's unanimous, and I appreciate I'm going to take it to a vote. And I appreciate all the dialogue that we have had. All those in favor of the substitute motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, so it passes 4-3 with Commissioner Vice Chairman, Commissioner Proctor, and Commissioner Maddox in dissent. Next item, Mr. County Administrator.
Thank you. For the remaining 3, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to walk you through these. There's a couple of moving parts, but I think I can make it very easy, very straightforward for everybody so you know exactly what you're voting on. And again, I just want to emphasize, in some cases, there's very small difference between staff recommendation and the CRC, and we're happy to implement either. So the next item, item 3 there, entitled Esteemed Humanity Charter Amendment. The Charter Committee voted to advance a proposed charter amendment revising the charter's preamble to reflect the esteemed humanity of all citizens in Leon County. Again, this was a value statement that this is how we respect all citizens of Leon County. The preamble is the appropriate place to reflect value statements such as this. The difference between A and B in this case is simply staff's recommending A, which is if the board likes this amendment, adopt it as a board-initiated amendment and advance it through that process. It will accelerate the process and it will get the CRCC off the hook for their summer public hearings. That's the only difference between the two. Mr. Chairman, I'll hand that one back to you for.
Mr. Chairman, I move 3A.
We have a motion on the floor to move option
Which one?
3A. Did you second it?
Yes.
Second.
I second.
Okay,
Mr.
second.
Chair.
Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner Proctor, recognized.
Mr. Chairman, there is no doubt that the charter group, again, worked diligently back and forth. And I believe that in the era of ICE, citizens of this community have been rounded up, picked up, that the Charter Committee believe that in this climate, the regard and respect for the humanity of all people, it doesn't take food off either our tables to say that we acknowledge and respect the diversity, the 40% non-white people that live in this community. Even though the federal government and the anti-DEI sentiments against people of color, diversity, yet there is this struggle and effort by this group to say, can we hang on to our ideas of 14th Amendment equal protection of law, as well as just the fundamental elements of respect for all humanity alike. So in the spirit and understanding the context of what worried, what troubled, what inspired this particular text, I believe, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, that staff takes the effort to shortest path of least resistance to put that statement in front of the public, and that's why I've asked you to support 3A.
Commissioner Cummings, I have you in queue.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just very briefly, I certainly support this particular item, and I just want to take this opportunity to also thank all the members. Our chair, former Commissioner Mary Ann Lindley, and all the individuals that worked on that committee. I mean, since what, October of last year, every other week, you guys did a yeoman's job, so I really, really appreciate it. But I just love this particular provision. I think rightfully so, it should be in the preamble, because I think it captures the essence of who we are. It's a no-brainer to me, Mr. Chair. So thank you guys for even envisioning that to be in the preamble of our charter.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. All right, I see no one else in the queue. We're going to vote on this motion. We have option 3A moved by Commissioner Proctor, second by Commissioner Cummings. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There's no opposed. Passes unanimously. Mr. County Administrator, we're on option 4 now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 4, very briefly, Commissioners, has to do with healthcare access as a charter amendment. The CCRC proposed a charter amendment to similarly revise the preamble of the charter to affirm the county's commitment to healthcare access. We simply, and this is kind of a technical thing, but staff's recommendation differs from having it as a charter amendment to reflect healthcare access, because rather than being a value statement, it is a program-specific area. The board, the CRCC, received information from the county and praised the county for everything we're doing in uninsured healthcare through CareNet, all of our programs. But they said, we would like to have it reflected in the preamble that healthcare access, the county's commitment to healthcare access. By doing so, you sort of exclude everything else Leon County is doing by putting it in there. It's a program-specific area. It's not a value-specific, broad, like health. It's a specific program area. And for that reason, what staff presented, which is what we presented to the Healthcare Committee, was to continue the county's longstanding commitment to ensuring healthcare access for low-income residents in all of the ways that we do that. It's again, we were trying to keep the CRCC from getting into the policy issues that the board has the purview to decide and to make everything, and rather to stick, again, to some of the larger structural authority issues. And again, this differs a little bit from the previous item because it is a program sort of specific issue. And so with that, we'd be happy to take whatever the board's direction is, but we recommend 4A, which is to continue the county's longstanding commitment to providing health care access to all citizens in Leon County.
Thank you, Mr. County Administrator. I have Mr. Vice Chair in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move option 4B to move forward with the recommended option from CCRC to move forward with the charter amendment.
I'll second it.
So we have 4B moved by the Vice Chairman, seconded by Commissioner Proctor. Mr. Vice Chairman, you're recognized.
Thank you. This one is another one where we would be following the recommendation of our Citizens Committee. We have an item that was pulled from consent, TMH's Community Health Needs Assessment Report that we'll talk about later, and because it was pulled. And that report has some devastating information in it that is not news for the people in Leon County. The 54% of people in Leon County who said they do not get all the medical care they need because of lack of affordable access to care. And to me, that access to health care is systemic. So we'll get into, it's unfortunate we didn't get to see the report before this, but I think the fact that this comes recommended from the citizens should guide us. The stakeholders in the health report cited economic conditions, social conditions, mental well-being, chronic diseases, which are systemic issues, not one particular program. They cite a fragmented healthcare system and high insurance costs as the biggest barriers, and so that is it being a structural crisis. So when I look at that data, when I look at this access, it's very personal to me. When I was a kid, my dad got a rare neurological disease, handicapped him for quite a long time. And even though he was a full retired veteran with TRICARE and everything, it saddled my family with medical debt that put us in a years-long cycle of payday loans, car repossessions, bankruptcy, and ultimately losing the house. And that was in the 90s. Medical access is way worse systemically now than it was in the 90s. And so that's why this is so important to me, and I do believe this is a value statement. We are putting in the preamble, just like humanity is a value statement. And by letting the voters decide, the voters can tell us if this is a community value. And if they do, it gives us direction and authority without requirements to take on bold systemic fixes. Because the reality is this won't be fixed by the next time the next charter amendment committee comes up. And that's what shows that it's systemic. And so that is why I'm strongly supporting moving forward with the charter amendment, being on the ballot till the voters tell us if this is a systemic issue to them, along a recommendation from the Citizens Committee. Thank you.
Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe that the comments made by Commissioner O'Keefe are speak for themselves. I won't replicate, but I understand well what the county administrator is saying. I really get that. I do. And yet, the health field was well represented on the citizens group. And I think the context of where we are right now as a community, we've seen a government, local government abdicate its former role as being a overseer or provider of healthcare with a hospital. They've abdicated and just simply walked away and quick kick, punted the ball to Florida State. And I think that's disturbing and was disturbing. And I think that inasmuch as the community was denied really a voice, and I know a decision will be made tomorrow with respect to the final on this abdication, somebody's got to be in charge of health, safety, and welfare. And it's because I do believe that there's been a decline in the Leon County health office. Services that once upon a time existed. You get pamphlets, brochures, as opposed to medicine. The number of firings and layoffs of people who've quit in the last 2 years or 3 at the Leon County Health Department is staggering. Over 25 people. That's not increasing health. So where do we draw the line? Like food, health, all those things are synonymous to quality of life, and in our goals, objectives, that big statement, we always say that quality of life is important. Well, how do we do that if we don't emphasize the role of health? We have seen the state of Florida has abdicated. The state of Florida only want little kids to wear Commissioner Cummings would be out of place if she was in a public school right now. Because she wouldn't be allowed to wear a face mask, you see. That's what the state of Florida believes about covering of your face and stuff like that. So hell, who's in charge of health? I think that the citizen group, again, let the public decide if they don't want this to be part of the charter. I'm not bright enough to make the decision and keep 300,000 people. I'm not thinking for 300,000 people. Let them think for themselves. And then I think also that in this community, the conversation about health care is so lopsided toward Tallahassee Memorial. And I don't understand why HCA is not integrated more into conversations. And like HCA has not been referenced in my understanding. It's like a chain of 185, 190 hospitals nationwide. I mean, outside the United States and all. But I don't know why we treat HCA like they got the cooties and don't even talk to them. They're not integrated with nothing. But I think that that's low-hanging fruit that can be added to the equation of health and delivery in our community. And we need to go after that as we look at the role of democracy, continuing to escape from a responsibility from providing for health of people, safety for people, and the welfare of people. I repeat, the health of people. And the nation used to have a department of, I remember HEW, Secretary Joseph Califano, Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. And I think now it's the Federal Department of Health and Human Services, and I honestly don't know what that means, but so it is, and I support what Commissioner O'Keefe said.
Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On this one, Commissioners, I would take the same stance as the food insecurity. I feel like, you know, the humanity thing is a value statement. When you start talking about broad policies like healthcare or food insecurity, those don't belong in the preamble of our charter. I mean, those are broad policy implications. Commissioner O'Keefe, you said it yourself. You said it's like a value statement, but then you said we're going to take big action on it. Well, you don't take big action on value statements. You take big action on policy statements. This is a policy issue. It belongs in policy. The charter preamble is not that. And so I think it doesn't need affirmation in the preamble when it's already the long-standing commitment of the county ensuring healthcare access. And so again, I just want to be consistent on that. And with that being said, I would offer a substitute motion for option A.
I'll second that. So we have a substitute motion on the floor brought forth by the immediate past chairman for 4A, and I second the motion. Commissioner Welch, you're still recognized.
That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Cummings.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just very briefly, I think we all agree that healthcare is a major concern in our community, in our state, and our nation, you know, with the beautiful bill that passed, and then many people lost Obamacare, and people's healthcare premiums increased 100, 200, 300, 400%. And I think for Leon County government, I think we are committed. I think we have a commitment to making sure that all of our citizens receive healthcare, affordable healthcare. Those that can't afford it, they won't be turned away at TMH or any other healthcare facility. But I believe we're committed to that, but I don't believe the preamble is the place it should be. The preamble was stated, and I buy into the value statement about who we are, what we are in this community. But as far as healthcare access, we believe in that as well, but I just don't think that's the proper place for it. So I will support Commissioner Welch's substitute motion.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. All right, I see no one else in the queue, so we'll take this to a vote. We have a substitute motion on the floor, moved by the immediate past chairman for staff recommendation, which is 4A, seconded by myself. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Passes 4-3 with Commissioner Vice Chairman O'Keefe, Proctor, and Maddox in dissent. We're on number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bringing us home on number 5, the very last one, Affordable Housing Trust Fund as a charter amendment. The CCRC proposed a charter amendment codifying the county's Affordable Housing Trust Fund to be considered as a charter amendment. We're happy to explain everything about what that means in detail. However, you'll see a similar pattern here with the staff recommendations in that in many cases we're saying we're doing that. We're doing that. We may be doing it a little differently. We may be doing it in a way that we might think is more effective or less effective, but that's where, similarly here, we've said that, yes, we have a trust fund. There's not necessarily a need. However, the board always retains the right to determine what the need is and to put something like this out on the ballot. But in this case, again, we're saying that we have an affordable housing trust fund, and so the need to do that rather than to simply amplify what the county is currently doing in our longstanding commitment to increasing and preserving the stock for affordable housing is what we're recommended. Further on that, the reason that we recommended this is because we believe that the board needs as much latitude as you could possibly. If you ever needed it more than, again, you've never needed it more than you need now to have complete flexibility in funding decisions that you make. And so identifying one specific program and saying we're going to establish a trust fund in the charter for that, again, it begs the question of, would you say the same for public safety? Would you say the same for parks? Would you say the same for environmental protection? Would you? And the list goes on. And so, again, that is why we recommended what is before you. However, if it's something that the board chooses to have as a charter amendment and to have voters vote on, of course, we respect that as well. But we recommend 5A in this regard to continue the board's longstanding commitment and to increasing and preserving the stock of affordable housing. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. County Administrator. Commissioner Maddox, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll make a motion for 5B.
So we have a motion on the floor for number 5B, moved by Commissioner Maddox. Who seconded over here?
Commissioner Vice Chair O'Keefe.
Okay, we have. Commissioner Maddox, you're recognized.
So listen, this may not pass. I have been on the bottom side of about 3 of these things so far, and I don't mind because today I'm really speaking from lived experience. I was the kid who didn't have food. That's why I thought food systems were so important. To provide the service is not the same as experiencing it, and so I respect Monique. I respect Rick. I don't think they live what I lived. I don't think they live what I lived, and I think I would have liked to have an office that's government ran that had to care about whether or not I ate and how much food was on my side of town, and so that's why I went there with that. On the health piece, again, didn't have health insurance, and so I was a kid with caps on the teeth, and I was a kid who didn't go to the doctor as much, and so thinking about, again, lived experience and how we talk about health, safety, and welfare, those things work into what we're supposed to do as a board, what we're supposed to do as government. I saw that as a good language to put in our preamble because it literally is what we do, health, safety, and welfare. So I voted against that again because, again, lived experience. And now we come to the trust fund piece of it. And I battle with this a little bit because I am a bit of a policy head, and I've been here for a while. And I sat in myself and I thought to myself, well, this is a policy issue, but when housing is doing what it's doing, it's going to continue to do more. Why not codify within your charter that you'll have a trust fund for affordable housing? Because this is not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better, it only gets worse. So I think to give our community the opportunity, not that we're approving these things,
None of those things could we approve today. But to give our community the opportunity to say whether or not they wanted to be a part of our charter would have been okay. I mean, it would have been okay. And I appreciate the committee for their work and for them making those recommendations back to us, that we give the general public the opportunity to say whether or not it's okay. I think sometimes we and I'm guilty myself, you sit here for a while and you know more than the general public knows, and you start to make those distinctions between what's policy and what's not policy, and what's value and what's this and what's that, and you forget what those lived experiences are like, right? And how much those lived experiences dictate how people feel and what their values are and what they believe should be policy. And so for me, it's quite frankly, I would like to see when you don't have the advantage of sitting on this board and understanding policy versus value, but you have the opportunity to have lived experiences, and you're seeing your family and friends and neighbors and loved ones go through things that they go through. Do you, the general public, want these things to be a part of your charter? And that's why I voted the way I voted today. And so my motion is based off, again, lived experience. This is not off my knowledge as much as I have as much as I have pertaining to policy up here today, because if I was going based off of my knowledge off of policy today, I probably would go the other way. But I want to hear the general public tell me how they feel about an Affordable House Trust Fund being a part of our charter based off of their lived experience, not necessarily how much policy experience I have as a county commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, commissioners, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to recess us now. We're at 5:40. I have a bunch of commissioners in the queue. I imagine this is a very important topic. So it does, in my opinion, require some debate and conversation. So I'm going to recess us. We'll come back here at 6 o'clock. We have 4 public hearings. We'll do the public hearings, and we'll continue right here with Commissioner Maddox's that's on the floor.